You're listening to the Icandemy podcast, the podcast for people who can but don't know how. This is where you get actionable steps to turn vague dreams into blissful realities. And I'm your host, Omoshola Victoria Wolabi. So let's get started. Do you ever think to yourself, I want to be able to impact lives, leave an imprint in this world, but you feel isolated, stuck, unclear on how to show up or get started? If you've answered yes to this question, I want to extend a very special invitation to you to join us on our upcoming workshop, the Courageous Confidence Workshop. This workshop is live, where we get to work together on that call so that you can crack the confidence code, awaken your inner giant, show up authentically, and attract your tribe. Head on over to offers.icandemy.org/courageous. Again, it's offers.icandemy.org/courageous. You'll find the links in the show notes below. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Icandemy podcast. I am super excited to be back with another episode under the theme that we have been talking about, understanding your miracle gifts. On today's episode, though, it is very crucial that you listen with intent, because this episode is the key to exploring that transformative power that we all have within us. And I hope your week has been great. I hope life is good to you. I hope you have been putting action to those plans that you started at the beginning of the year. I'm your host, Omoshola Victoria Wolabi, and as always, I am excited to be here today. Today, though, we are continuing our series on understanding your miracle gifts, and today we're talking all about the third gift, which is faith. I am thrilled to actually explore this topic because faith is something that we need every single day of our existence. The Bible tells us in Hebrews 11 that unto every man, everybody, God has dealt a measure of faith. It means whether or not you believe in God, you have been dealt a measure of faith, because that is the language of God. When we go to bed at night, we actually are confident that we will wake up the next morning. The reason why you are that confident that you can go to bed and hope to wake up the next day is because of something called faith. That faith thing is the substance of what we hope for, but we do not have yet. You have not woken up the next morning, right? But you are confident that you will, because faith is at work, right? So every human being on the planet has been given a measure of faith so that we are able to exist on this planet, so that we can get up in the morning, we can go to bed, you get in your car, you drive to work, you hope to arrive at your office when you do that. That is faith in action. When you go to school, you come out and you go to school, you hope to arrive at school because that you have the faith that you will, right? Now, that is the general faith that everybody has. Everybody on the face of the planet that exists has been given a measure of faith. However, there is another dimension of faith. There is the gift of faith. There is the miraculous gift of faith. This gift is different from the general dimension of faith that I just talked about. This gift is a gift from God, right? It is the unusual ability. It is the extraordinary confidence in God's promises over your life. Some people have this gift. It is so in-depth in them. There's something that is within them that they just know, like they know that this, what God has said to them, will come to pass. And this gift actually is very crucial if you operate in the prophetic. But I'll get to that in a moment, right? So it is actually important because faith provides us with the hope, the inspiration, the motivation to keep going, even in the face of adversity, right? But the gift of faith here is different because people with this gift, right, have the extraordinary ability to do things, to take certain actions that other people will see like, oh my God, like this is just like way off the chart. And it will shock you to know that this level of faith actually exists in people that do not call themselves Christians. For example, Elon Musk. What would make an ordinary man decide he wants to build a rocket ship and send that to space? And in the face of insurmountable challenges, he's able to pull it off. He has the gift of faith. Whether or not he knows it, that gift is a miracle gift that is operating within him. And I'm sure in your life, at some point, you would have been forced to engage that gift of faith, right? So how do we identify, how do we nurture, how do we cultivate this thing called faith, this miracle gift called faith? It starts by understanding what we believe. What do we believe about God? What do we believe about the world we live in? What do we believe about our very existence, right? And it starts with going back to the foundations of who we are and starting to reflect on our personal journeys, our personal experiences. And you will see that faith has been a crucial part of your journey to where you are right now. Right? Because it's at the same time, though, it's not just about our personal journey as well, right? It's about listening to the stories of other people. Like when I sit down and I study someone like Elon Musk, even though he doesn't publicly identify as a Christian or acknowledge God in everything that he does publicly, I know when I look at his life and his story that he has the gift of faith at work. It is only the miraculous gift of faith that will allow a man embark on such feat, right? We see that at work. Okay, family, let's face it. We've all felt pain. We've suffered the losses. You know what it's like to want something so bad, but not see a path to its accomplishment. The question, however, is, do you know how to pick yourself up and move on despite what has happened? This is what I share with you inside of my new book, Good Medicine for the Crushed Spirit, a practical guide to helping you find purpose when adversity strikes. Inside this book, you will find personal stories, relatable biblical tales, and anecdotes that prove you are never alone in your despair and will inspire you to turn pain, discomfort, disappointment, or setbacks into something positive that works for you. So if you're ready to change your life in meaningful and purposeful ways, get your copy of this book today and let the transformation begin. So faith is something that we have to explore in our lives. Understanding, number one, the God of our salvation, the Most High God, Yahweh, Elohim, the God of creation. Number two, who we are as it relates to God. Number three, the world and our purpose in this world. Those are the building blocks of faith. Right? And I know you may be wondering, doubt is a natural part of our existence. I mean, if I have faith, if you say faith is something that God has given everybody, how come I feel doubtful? How come sometimes I am doubtful, I am shaking sometimes, even when I know that this is good for me? I'm glad you asked. The reason why is because doubt is a natural part of our human existence, right? Just as it is with fear. Fear is a natural part of human existence, even though the Bible tells us that God has not given us a spirit of fear. Because God has not given us a spirit of fear, right? But of power, of love, and a sound mind. Now, fear and the spirit of fear are two different things. The same thing too when we have doubt. Doubt is a natural part of our human existence. And one way that we can strengthen our faith is by recalling times when our faith helped us cross over the line, reminding ourselves of the miracles that we've witnessed in our lives, the challenges that we've overcome right in our life, reminding ourselves and also seeking that support from a community of like-minded faith-believing people is crucial to establishing that faith. In our life. We see now in Romans 12 that the Bible actually gives us a hall of faith for people who by faith were able to carry out God's purposes. If you look at their lives, there were so many times they doubted, so many periods of uncertainty, but what propelled them forward was faith. faith and believe in the word of God. It's the same thing too when we embark on a journey as people who God has called to do great things in the world, right? It means we have to step out of our comfort zone, which can be risky at times, right? It requires most times divine intervention, the spirit of faith, the gift of faith to push us forward. Because sometimes you might want to do something like, for example, I remember when I wanted to start out in business, there was so many challenges that I had to overcome. I didn't have the money, I didn't have the skill set, but I had to still step out on faith, knowing that there's something in my life, even though I couldn't see the picture very clearly at the time. I knew there was something about me that was way more than just me just sitting down. I had to step out by faith and do something. And the moment I did something, I registered a business. I put one foot next. I started, the website. I started to go online. I started to learn about different things. I took courses in different areas that I did not feel adequate in. Then you saw the journey started to become clearer and clearer and clearer as we went along. Because at the end of the day, great risk potentially mean we are going to get great rewards. And the greater the risk of any venture, the fewer the people that dare that journey, right? And the fewer the competition, right? The greater your reward. That is why I want to encourage you today that the gift of faith is one that God has given every child of God to know that we have to step out and do what God has called us to do. We are not sure what the outcome will be, but we trust in the one who knows what the outcome will be. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And I want you to write to me at hello@icandemy.com. I want you to write to me your miracle experiences using the gift of faith that resides in each and every one of us. As we have established on today's episode, that faith gives us the capacity to create extraordinary transformations in our lives, right? And by nurturing and strengthening our faith, we can overcome challenges. We can find hope in difficult times. We can inspire others along the way. And it starts with understanding who we are first in Christ, and then seeking like-minded individuals that can work with us on our faith journey. And I hope this episode has provided you with valuable insights so that we can understand and embrace our miracle gifts, faith, right? And if you're not yet subscribed to this episode, what are you waiting for? Make sure you subscribe to the Icandemy podcast, because we bring you the tools, the resources that you need to build that life that God has created for you, to turn your vague dreams into blissful realities. And it's my prayer for you today that you will start to activate the God-given gift within you, which is a gift of faith, because without faith, it is impossible for us to please God. It is impossible for us to do anything meaningful in life without the gift of faith. Thank you so much for today's episode, for listening in. And until the next one, keep on shining. This episode is sponsored by our very own Mogul Mindset Training. Are you ready to embrace new experiences, see opportunities where you thought there was none, and totally surprise yourself? Because you can, by unleashing the power of your mind. Mogul Mindset System is a 5-step system that helps you retrain your mind to work with you and not against you, so you can awaken your inner giant, 10x your impact, your income, and become truly unstoppable. The truth is, you, my friend, have a superpower, your creative genius. And I'm here to make that power multiply manyfold so you can get past fear, self-doubt, and finally start working and thriving in your life and business. Ready to unleash your superpowers? I thought you would. Head over to mogul.icandemy.org. That's mogul.icandemy.org to learn more. So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And for more content like this, follow us on our social media handles. On Facebook, it's at Icandemy, the Facebook page. On Instagram, it's at Icandemy. Or come say hello over on my personal page. On Instagram, it's at Omoshola Speaks. On Facebook, it's Victoria Wallaby. Feel free to reach out, introduce yourself, say hello. I love meeting you. And if you have any stories that you feel will inspire another woman to action, I want to hear from you. I really do. I love hearing from you. send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. So it's hello@icandemy.org.